Ladies and gents, how you doing? I know we're all sick of being lectured about finances by people with the mathematical acumen of Diane Abacus. I mean, genuinely stupid, brain-dead socialists who have to take both shoes off if they want to count to 20. They'll tell you that the reason we have to go back into the European Union is because apparently it's bankrupted Britain, even though France, Germany, Spain, Italy and everywhere else on the continent has been also circling the financial drain for a decade or two. Obviously because of the aforementioned socialist policies. Anyway, GB News has done a grand job of compiling together a load of data showing that the inverse is true, obviously, because these are socialists talking about economics. You might as well ask the 40-stone Belgian health minister for diet advice. It's actually quite unbelievable. And they tell you the actual statistics, which make for some good reading. All we need to do now is actually properly pull out of the European Union and embark on some marvellous capitalist adventures, and we'll actually be a country with some money, starting with North Sea oil, if you get my drift. Mr. Millipede really does need to do one if we're ever going to climb out of the hole. Anyway, speaking of economic illiteracy, I'm having a sale this weekend in my merch store, so go and check that out. Bootneck Booty over on dashery.com. I've put a link in the description. I think you can get these for about 16 or something over the weekend. Maybe treat yourself to a Alan Snack Bar shirt. Perfect for when Morocco or Algeria are playing and they're all celebrating across Europe. You can walk past your local hooker bar and possibly get accosted while the police obviously assist the person throwing the punches. Anyway, check out the link down below. Let's talk about economic illiteracy. Right, so GB News is using this piece to talk about Andy Burnham specifically, saying that he can talk about wanting to go back into the EU or lie about his current stance, but ultimately the numbers are there in black and white, and it's quite eye-opening. The numbers were compiled by several groups, including Brexit Facts for EU, Stand for Our Sovereignty, and the Campaign for an Independent Britain. And Andy Burnham was issued a direct challenge, asked if he will accept the official economic data showing he was wrong about Brexit. As you're all aware, weasel that he is, Burnham, he's walked back all of his previous comments, including one only a few months before he started running in Makerfield, where he said he wants to toss us back into the EU and democracy be damned. He said, and we're quoting him here, "I would want to rejoin. I hope in my lifetime I see this country rejoin the European Union. I'm absolutely clear about that. The European Union benefited this country." Yeah, I especially like that sentence there, "I'm absolutely clear about that," because 6 weeks later when he started running in Makerfield, he definitely wasn't absolutely clear about that, was he? Because he's a slithering little worm, like everybody else, sat on the benches in the Houses of Parliament. We know that that's because the Makerfield constituency was 65% in favour of Brexit in the referendum. And at a conference in Leeds, he said, "My view is that Brexit has been damaging, but I also believe the last thing we should do is rerun the arguments." Yeah, so what he's going to do is, he's going to do what all Labour Prime Ministers do. He's not going to bother having the argument, and he's going to do what he wants to do without any say from the public. Much easier if you do it like that, isn't it? It's much easier. Nice, smooth, easy transition. Just do whatever you want, and then you don't have to have any arguments with anyone, or be clever, or read books, or do any of that stuff. It's brilliant if you think about it. Much better than, doing as you're told, you slippery little maggot. Yeah, it's much easier that way. So, I mean, he's talked me round. He then added, "I'm not proposing we rejoin the EU. I respect the decision that was made at the referendum, and it's going to undermine everything I've said about strengthening democracy if we don't respect the vote." So yeah, if that's true, he's officially the first man in history to ever actually respect the vote, because the British government has spent the last 10 years not respecting the vote, haven't they? You know this, I know this. It's a demonstrable fact. That vote hasn't been respected since the day the chinless wonder himself, David Cameron, resigned, had a little hissy fit and a cry, and walked off the job because the public said, "Oh, a British Prime Minister wants us to do something. Yeah, we'll do the opposite, thanks, dickhead." The vote's never been respected. So what he's going to do is, he's going to rejoin by stealth, which is basically what they've done anyway, because, as I said, we haven't really left, have we? We haven't really left. The customs union's a shambles. All they've done since we voted for it is talk about ever closer union, and Starmer's spent as much time talking to Ursula von der Scheiterporn as he has any of the British voters. So we never left. You know this. He's not gonna respect the vote. He's gonna do whatever he likes, because that's what British politicians do. And anyone who thinks this is hyperbole, I'll just remind you, every single time British people have been asked about the immigration debate in the last 40 years, the British public's voted for less of them. Tony Blair admitted we got it wrong on immigration. Peter Mandelson held his hands up and said maybe we shouldn't have sent search parties out for them. But did they change course? No. And Boris Johnson, fat albino that he is, was told in no uncertain terms that we wanted less immigration. It's why people voted to leave the European Union, and he brought 1 million in a single year. So don't tell me that it's hyperbolic to talk about British Prime Ministers not even bothering with discussions or debates and just doing whatever they want by smashing their iron-shod boots into your throat and then doing the exact opposite of what you asked for. Anyway, rant over. Let's get to the numbers, shall we? Right, first of all, Brexit Britain's GDP has outgrown the EU's top 3 since the referendum. The British economy didn't fall off a cliff. It's risen by 12.9% and twice as fast as Germany. There you go. UK's at 12.9% in real terms, France at 12.8%, Italy at 10.1%, and the Germans at 6%, because the poor old Germans have got screaming socialists pulling the strings. Their manufacturing output used to be legendary. Now they've got hippies in charge. The only way BMW can still produce vehicles in Germany is if all the staff spend an hour on their lunch breaks pedalling on legions of exercise bikes wired up to the national grid. They turned off all the nuclear power plants and all to buy all their energy off the frogs, even though all the French power plants are on the border with Germany. So if they melt down, Hans is going to glow in the dark anyway. I mean, one, that's a basic bit of common sense. 2, they're not on any fault lines anyway. They freaked out about Japan, even though it's an island 10,000 miles away. And then the government closed down all the nuclear power plants. It's as irrational as our government thinking it's good for the environment to not get our own oil and gas out of the North Sea or frack in the northeast of England and to pay the Americans to ship 1 million tonnes of liquid gas and wood chips for burning for power across the ocean, after driving them onto tankers with forklift trucks. Apparently that's better for the environment. You couldn't make this stuff up. But if you want one single reason why the Germans are now circling the drain, that's it. Yeah. So fortunately, they're as daft as us. We would be in the doldrums compared to France, Italy and Germany, because we've got socialists in charge. We would be, but we aren't, because so have they. It's almost like it's a secret, nefarious globalist plot. Here's another good one. We're at 5.9% growth in real GDP per head from pre-referendum to 2024. Full years using the latest figures from the ONS. So there you go. 5.9% growth in GDP. Easy. Employment numbers are good as well. Brexit Britain's total employment is up by 2.4 million, which is up by 7.6% from the 2016 EU referendum to the end of 2025. I mean, we all knew that was going to happen, didn't we? Have you tried ordering a drink in France? It's impossible to get a Frenchman to do any work. And I'm talking about the actual Frenchman. The Nigerian Frenchmen are even harder to get out of bed. Exports are doing fine as well. Brexit Britain's total exports are up by 34 billion per quarter in real terms from 2016 EU referendum to the end of 2025. So clearly they're still buying things that they need. And then business investment in 12 months to the referendum compared to 12 months of 2025 is up by 16.7% from 266.5 billion to 311.1 billion pounds. The article concludes with, given Mr. Burnham will have had access to state resources, the think tank is asking the prospective PM whether he accepts the official economic facts about the Brexit economy. No, he doesn't. He doesn't, does he? And he doesn't need to, because he's a British Prime Minister. He doesn't need to do as he's told. Lord Redwood praised the think tank's investigation, probably one of the only Tories I can actually stomach looking at. I don't like the bloke. He's as much of a self-serving creature as the rest of them. But I don't risk having a stroke the second I look at him, like nearly everybody else in the House of Parliament who wears a blue badge. Calling it a great coup. He said, once again, Facts4EU has pulled off a great coup, setting out brilliantly how there has been no economic damage from Brexit. There hasn't. There would have been. I think we would have seen a stark difference if Germany and France were ran competently, but fortunately they've been using the same sociopathic globalist climate change delusions as we have. So, we're officially the tallest midget in the room. There you have it. It's a good piece that. Some decent data in there. Please, though, don't delude yourselves into actually being happy, right? We don't watch this channel to be in a good mood. Just be aware, the only reason the UK is doing half decent is because France, Germany, Italy, Spain, look how they ran. Look at Spain. Amnesty to millions of swarthy diddlers who no one knows from Adam. You couldn't make it up. So we're doing great, but only compared to a load of other completely retarded nations. It's terrible. We are, like I said, with the tallest midget in the room, with the most handsome man in the Burns unit. You're the thinnest woman in the Eamon Holmes fan club. It's nothing to be proud of, but it is what it is. I suppose everywhere in Europe is in ruins compared to where it was a decade ago, following these neoliberal, insane, woke policies. So we're still a turd, and you can't polish a turd, but you can roll it in glitter, and that's the United Kingdom. Anyway, please let me know what you think in the comments down below. Have a grand weekend, have a drink. I'm not doing a stream because I'm out of town once again, but I'll be back on Monday, so enjoy yourselves. I'll see you all soon. Keep your chins up, they can't stop us laughing, and I'll see you in a bit. Take it easy. Toodle pip. Cheers.